How you doing?
Sunshine, imagination going into overtime. There's no way the world could weigh you down. The story in your eyes spoke of all the things you realized and dreamed. Then the days went by like a freight train, moving fast like a hurricane. No one ever did explain. You got it on your own. Such a bridge to see. You become who you are. So sing it loud, 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 so everyone knows who you are. I stood by and I watched you make choices. Bit my tongue when I saw you taking chances. Watch you go through a ring of romance still. I never had a doubt. I always knew you knew who you were. When the days grow dark with confusion, you can always give your burdens sing it, sing it loud, 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 sing it loud, sing it loud, so everyone knows who you are. Sing it loud, 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 so everyone knows who you are. Sing it loud, 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 so you can remember who you are. Sing it loud, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Chattanooga. Let's sing together. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see love in every face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Today is the day the Lord has made. It's a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a time when we can simply open our minds, open our hearts, and give thanks. And for me personally, it's a good day. So let's take a moment now and simply close our eyes. Take a deep breath. Allow that breath to flow through your entire body, bringing a peace, relaxing every muscle, every tissue. And as we open our mind and open our hearts, we feel a presence and a power. Presence and a power of guidance, of love, of companionship, being right here and right now. And as we often affirm, God is here, guiding and loving, and being present with all that we say and do. And so we give thanks once again for this beautiful sanctuary, for this opportunity to be together, for the presence and the power of God surrounding everything that we say and do. Thank you, God. So it is.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a
Good morning to all of you beautiful souls.
Good.
Yeah. Welcome to Unity of Chattanooga. I'm Amanda Adamson and I serve as the president of your board of trustees. Halloween is a great opportunity to welcome the unknown, to reflect, to release, and bring a little extra magic and intuition into our everyday lives. Why don't you turn to your neighbors this morning and say, "You look spooktacular this morning." That is the end of the puns. Welcome to all of you who are attending on Facebook this morning. I believe we are only having audio. Is that correct? We apologize for this, and everything should be up and running for our next service. Thank you. If you're there, please leave a comment, a thumbs up, and we appreciate you. It doesn't appear we have anyone new today, but if we did, we would bless the heck out of you. Unity views God as the spiritual energy that is present everywhere and is available to all people. According to Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore, God is not a person who has set creation in motion and gone away and left it to run down like a clock. God is spirit, infinite mind, the immanent force and intelligence everywhere manifest in nature. God is the silent voice that speaks into visibility all the life that there is. Unity of Chattanooga is geared towards deepening your connection to spirit so that you can live freely from a place of authentic, eternal self. We look forward to supporting you on your spiritual journey. We are always grateful for this time together, and now shine your light to all of your friends here. So please stand and greet each other with a handshake, a smile, or a hug. Thank you.
imagine a world where everybody's the same and all you are is yourself. There's no need for shame. There's no more space for fear. For who you are is your worth. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is all that there is. Can you imagine a world where everybody's the same and all you are is yourself? There's no more need for shame. There's no space for fear. For who you are is your worth. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is all that there is. I used to feel all alone. So I thought that I'd let you know, in case somebody told you that you're special, in case nobody's made you believe you're special. Well, I will always love you the same. You're special. So glad you're here with us. Maybe broken, but oh, you're still perfect. Oh, you're special. You are special. Can you imagine a world where everybody's the same and all you are is yourself? There's no more need for the shame. There's no more space for the fear. For who you are is your world. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is all that there is. And I used to feel all alone. So I thought that I'd let you know, in case somebody told you today you're special, in case nobody's made you believe you're special. Well, I will always love you the same. You're special. So glad you're here with us. Maybe broken, but oh, you're so perfect. You're special. You are special. And I know that I'm not alone. So I thought that I'd let you know. Oh, in case nobody's told you today you're special. In case nobody's made you believe you're special. Well, I will always love you the same. You're special. So glad you're here with us. Maybe broken, but oh, you're still perfect. Oh, you're special. You are special. That's
Perfect song.
Hey.
You're special. You're perfect. And I'm glad everybody's here. Yeah. Well, you know what's coming up, right? Halloween is next week. Yeah. And all the little ones with their masks and their costumes will be knocking on the door for treats. The doorbell rings, the dog barks, and a chorus of little voices sing out, "Trick or treat." Mom and Dad or Big Sis, of course, are in the background, comforting and supplying a little guidance here and there, so there's no tricks. In my neck of the woods, we sometimes see a pickup truck with a long flatbed trailer decorated with colored lights, a few bales of hay and maybe a pumpkin or two, and a whole bunch of kids and parents riding around combing the neighborhoods. It's all great fun. I've often wondered how kids these days pick their costumes. I want to be Superman, truth and justice, and fighting crime. I want to be Darth Vader on the dark side. I want to be the good fairy godmother with a magic wand. I want to be the wicked witch of the north, or whatever is diabolical today. That comes from many years ago. But from our culture that these young ones see, it seems that there's always a fantasy hero or villain or character that they've seen that has sparked their imagination and made an impression of some sort. And they want to be that character, if only for a night. A character, an image, an identity hiding in their thoughts just under the surface, just behind the mask. When our daughter Christine was growing up, she always liked to dress up with makeup and fancy dresses, and when Halloween came around, she was the princess and she played the part very well. And today, looking good is very high on her priority list. But the next door neighbor boy had a different fantasy. It was in the mid-'80s. E.T. the Extraterrestrial was the hit movie, and he and his mom had made a perfect E.T. costume. I mean perfect. Looked just like E.T. in the movie. And when the doorbell rang, Christine rushed to the door, as young ones sometimes do, opened the door, and there was E.T. in the flesh. Now, she'd seen the movie with us, with Mom and Dad, and she had a good time. But that night, she took one look at the reality at the front door, slammed the door, and wanted absolutely nothing more to do with Halloween. Sometimes our fantasy world can be scary to others or not appreciated and become something to be hidden or not expressed. But kids don't have all the fun. When Mardi Gras comes around, especially in Louisiana, the costumes and revelry are beyond description, explanation, or further comment. For good reason on a Sunday morning talk. The funny part of these holidays is that they both started out as church holidays or church celebrations based around ideas of celebrating a holy idea or event. November 1st was All Saints' Day or All Hallows' Day, celebrating the Christian saints and others who had led particularly good and eventful lives, followed by All Souls' Day on November 2nd, celebrating the recently departed. But a custom developed of celebrating on the night before, October 31st, and All Hallows' Eve, or Halloween, came into being. And it seems that over the years, a last chance good time before being holy for a couple of days was in order. Stranger still, when thinking and celebrating the best and holiest of people, the shadow side also came to be expressed with his emphasis on ghouls and goblins and scary things that go bump in the night. Mardi Gras is similar, with Fat Tuesday parades and parties before Ash Wednesday, which begins the fasting and ritual sacrifices of the 40 days of Lent leading up to Easter. Now, not to be outdone, some cities, such as New Orleans, consider Mardi Gras to stretch the entire period from the eve of the 12th day of Christmas, known as the Epiphany, all the way to Ash Wednesday. Not everybody in New Orleans, but there are a few. who simply seem to say, well, if we got to be holy for a while, then we got to be able to let loose too. There seems to be a shadow side to these events. The point is, there are many facets to our personalities. Some are highly honorable and acceptable in our culture, while others are not. And sometimes we're very aware of our strengths and positive character traits. Sometimes we're also aware of those darker thoughts that need to be camouflaged and hidden away most of the time and can only be expressed in a situationally appropriate way, such as a costume on Halloween or at a Mardi Gras party. And sometimes there are aspects of our personality that surface from time to time that we're completely unaware of. Now, not all of these personality facets are bad or detrimental. If you're like most people, you may have a number of different identities at work in your personal life. For instance, if you're a leader for a team at work, you set goals, you set standards, and expect them to be followed. In other situations, you're a co-worker or a friend to your colleagues and express yourself in a supporting role, following the expectations of the team or the leader. At home, a more vulnerable side may surface, unless you're a mom with several younger, energetic entities about that high. And if you've been a mom, you know what I'm talking about. The question becomes, are you happy and effective and authentic in your various roles and responsibilities? Are you comfortable with who you are and what your life is all about? Or is there an uncomfortable aspect, an uncomfortable thought or urge, an anxiety that won't seem to go away, something brewing underneath it all? Do you ever feel like you're wearing a mask? Perhaps you think that you have to act a certain way around your boss or say certain things to your colleagues so that you'll be accepted. Instead of being yourself, you're playing a role to fit in or to impress others. Now, most of us have gone through this from time to time, and instead of behaving in a genuine way, we tell people what we think they want to hear and act in ways that go against our true nature. In short, we're living inauthentically behind a mask. Many of us wear masks every day when we cloak our identities or our true feelings by suppressing our thoughts or acting in a certain way. Some of these masks we like, and some we don't. Some we are forced to wear to get along in life, and others we wear voluntarily and are afraid to remove. Too often we end up measuring ourselves not from the spiritual side, but from the physical, because of our wants or our needs. One of the key lessons on the spiritual journey is to be aware of who we authentically are, why we're here, and what is ours to be and to do, who we are behind the masks and the roles that we play. If we can embrace those thoughts and be comfortable with our answers, a blessed life will follow. Not without its challenges, mind you, but an ever upward spiral of increasing awareness and corresponding circumstances. One of my colleagues in ministerial school was a gay man who related his journey of becoming comfortable with his sexuality. At one point, he sought professional help, and he asked the counselor, "Help me to be straight." And the counselor remarked, "I can't do that, but I can help you be more comfortable with who you are." Slowly over time and with professional help, he embraced this aspect of his personality and became much more comfortable with his lifestyle. For those of us who are aware of the cross currents in our life, perhaps aware of the masks and roles that we play, and want to explore more fully the sometimes conflicting aspects within ourselves, professional help is always recommended. For those of us who simply want to explore more deeply who we are and why we think or behave in the way we do, the tendencies that we have, self-study of the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs personality profiles are always helpful. As a way of explanation, the Enneagram was first developed in the 50s, modified in the 70s, and defines 9 personality types, which are represented by points on a geometric figure, which indicates some of the principal connections between these various types of personalities. It's often promoted in business management circles as a way to gain insights into workplace interpersonal dynamics, and in spiritual seminars and classes as a way and a path to aid self-awareness, self-understanding, and self-development. If there is interest in the Enneagram, I'll be happy to do a class on it. Just let me know. The Myers-Briggs personality profile was constructed by 2 Americans, Catherine Briggs and her daughter Isabel Myers, who were inspired by a book by the name of Psychological Types by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. And to understand your personality type with its unique strengths and weaknesses, you take a test that scores your answers on across 4 categories. The first category, introvert, extrovert. Second category, sensing or intuition. Third category, thinking or feeling. Fourth category, judging or perceiving. And the resulting score gives you an idea of how you tend to approach various life situations and the type of situations you feel most and least comfortable in. In ministerial school, we did a 2-day workshop using the Myers-Briggs profile, and the results were both fascinating and enlightening. And the topic, the name of the episode was called Gifts Differing. And the idea was to become more familiar with your particular strengths and ways that you like to approach situations, and what you're good at, and what you're not too excited about and probably not good at. Also, how to invite others into areas that are not your favorites, but where they are comfortable and competent. For example, a fast-paced, business executive is most likely not interested or good at the detail of accounting and needs a good accountant to run his or her business. The Myers-Briggs profile can help identify personality types that can support one another if understood and wisely used. It was a fascinating 2 days, and I had an experience during that time which absolutely showed some validity to this. And it took me about 15 minutes to go through it, but one of these days I'll tell you about it. If there is interest in this program, I can give you more information about it. There are also other systems out there to help you figure out your particular strengths and weaknesses, who you are under the masks and the roles that you play, what your likes and dislikes are, and why you tend to do the things the way you do. A couple that I don't recommend, however, are horoscopes and tarot cards. In my opinion, horoscopes are way too general and can lead you down a path that is not truly yours. And for me personally, tarot cards are often up to the interpretation of whoever is doing them. And to me, that's dangerous territory. You always want to go within. Sometimes there are parts of our personality that are not visible to us and show up in self-defeating ways, often times hurting or offending other people, leaving us wondering how we ever got into this mess and why it keeps happening. Now, I'm sure none of you have experienced that, but nevertheless, many people do. As the Apostle Paul lamented, I do not understand my own actions, for I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. I can will what is right, but I can't do it. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do. That's from the Apostle Paul, Romans 7:15. This is the shadow. First identified it by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. Now, in analytical psychology, the shadow is an unconscious aspect of the personality that does not correspond with the ego ideal, leading the personality to resist, stuff it down, and then project it, and leading to conflict between the two. For one reason or another, we all have parts of ourselves that we don't like, or think that society won't like. So we push those parts down into our unconscious psyches. And whatever you bury alive. It's this collection of repressed aspects of our identity that Jung referred to as the shadow self. And he said, the shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole personality, for no one can become conscious of the shadow without considerable moral effect, moral effort. To become conscious of it involves recognizing the dark aspects of the personality as present and real. This act is the essential condition for any kind of self-knowledge. Our consciousness is like an iceberg. We see and are aware of about 90% of it on the top. The rest is under the surface, outside our field of view. And if you're one of those people who generally loves who they are, you might be wondering whether this is true for you. I don't reject myself, you might be thinking. I love everything about me. However, the problem is that you're not necessarily aware of the parts of your personality that you reject. According to Jung's theory, we distance ourselves psychologically from those behaviors, emotions, and thoughts that we find dangerous or objectionable. Rather than confront something we don't like, our conscious mind pretends it doesn't exist. So aggressive impulses, taboo mental images, shameful experiences, immoral urges, fears, irrational wishes, unacceptable sexual desires, these are a few examples of shadow aspects, things people have within them but do not admit to themselves that they have. Here's a few examples, just a few. Number one, a tendency to harshly judge others, especially if that judgment comes on an impulse. Deep down, what's going on is you would hate to be singled out in this way. So doing it to another reassures you that you're smart enough not to take the same risks as the other person. It's usually followed with the thought, you stupid idiot, right? Number two, pointing out one's own insecurities as flaws in another. Scan any section of the internet and you'll find dozens of comments calling the author or the commentators stupid or worse. Ironically, the people who do this are oftentimes called internet trolls and are some of the most insecure people of all. Number three, a quick temper with people in subordinate positions of power. People are quick to cop an attitude with people who don't have the power to fight back. Exercising power over another is the shadow's way of compensating for one's own feelings of helplessness in the face of greater force. I worked in Silent Unity for 2 years, and most of the people who worked there were female, and the structure of the prayers that we did were very, very comforting. And so oftentimes somebody would come up, find this smooth, uh, you know, female voice, and all this pus and venom and vulgarity and everything would start coming out. Well, Silent Unity had experienced this for years, not often, but every so often it would happen. And they had a little button right over here. You had a headset on, and the button was right there. And you'd press that button, and a strong male voice would come on and say, "Thank you for calling Silent Unity. Have a good day." Click. You need to be able to handle stuff like that. Number 4, frequently playing the victim of every situation. Rather than admit wrongdoing, people go to amazing lengths to paint themselves as the innocent bystander, the victim who never has to take responsibility. The legal system is absolutely awash with that kind of stuff. Number 5, a willingness to step on others to achieve one's own ends. I don't need to go into a lot of detail like that, but on a micro level, you see this all the time in traffic. The aggressive driver cutting through traffic, cutting people off, and gets off at the next exit. What's going on in his head? Number 6, unacknowledged biases and prejudices. With so much social pressure to eradicate prejudice, people often find it easier to simply pretend that they're not racist or homophobic or sexist or half a dozen other things, rather than do the deep work that it would take to override or offset destructive stereotypes that they may be harboring. A lot of that is cultural. It's how we were brought up. And if we're going to make any progress, we've got to be able to shift it. And it takes some deep inner work. Seeing in others what we don't admit lies within us is what Carl Jung calls projection. And although our conscious minds are avoiding our own flaws, that same mind wants to deal with others, so we magnify those flaws in others. First we reject, and then we project. Hermann Hesse said it this way: if you hate a person, you hate something in him that is part of yourself. What isn't part of ourself doesn't ever disturb us. Dolly Parton said it a little more blunt: if you spot it, you got it. I like that. So what do we do? How do we proceed? Well, Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll direct your life, and you'll simply call it fate because you don't understand it, you don't recognize it. Jung's proposed solution to this schism is for the individual to undergo what he called shadow work. What we repress never stays repressed. It lives on in our unconscious. And despite what our egos would have us believe, the unconscious mind is the one really running the show. It works tirelessly 24/7, 365, using the laws of action and mind action to bring us the very experiences we won't acknowledge constantly. It's been buried alive, and it's going to fight for its existence, and that's how it works. Jung further comments, filling the conscious mind with ideal conceptions is a characteristic of Western philosophy and theosophy, but not the confrontation with the shadow self and the world of darkness. Here's where he hits the point pretty hard. One does not become enlightened by imaging figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Shadow work, then, is the process of making the unconscious conscious. How do we do that? We gain awareness of our unconscious impulses through a variety of techniques, which I'll explain in a minute. And then it's up to us to choose how to act on them. Once we're aware of them, we can choose. We begin this process when we take a step back from our normal patterns of behavior and observe what's going on within us. That's why we take a look at our emotions. Whatever emotions are coming up, there's a thought behind it. Meditation, and these are Carl Jung's own words. Meditation is a great way to develop this ability to step back from ourselves, with the goal being to gain the ability to do this as we go about our daily lives. One of the most profound experiences I've had in the last 20 years in ministry is attending several 10-day silent retreats. And with little outside stimulation and a focus on what's going on in your mind, all the unconscious stuff comes up. You come face to face with every belief, thought, and need that has been running your life. Every fear, every issue. It's a maddening and frightening war at first. But once you recognize it as the shadow thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors that are alive and fighting for their very existence, you get to see them as they are and oftentimes where they came from. Now, there's help from trainers who've been where you are and know how to ask the questions and guide you to your own answers. And in the end, it's about moving from the unconscious to the conscious, and then from the head to the heart, and then it becomes your choice. In the 4th chapter of Matthew, we read that Jesus spent 40 days and nights in the wilderness being tempted by the devil. And only after he had overcome the temptations of material wealth, worldly power, and spiritual pride did he start his ministry. It's a perfect example of doing your shadow work for as long as it takes, right? 40 days, 40 nights. And the blessings that follow from conquering those inner demons. Now, I've often recommended a regular prayer and meditation practice. 30 minutes a day will surface these issues in a more regular and comfortable way so that reflection on your thoughts and your behaviors becomes a natural, everyday spiritual practice. A little spiritual work every day will prevent the major upsets and calamities that would volcanically appear otherwise. The next step is to question. When we observe ourselves reacting to psychological triggers or events that prompt an instant and uncontrolled reaction, we must learn to pause and ask ourselves, why am I reacting that way? What's this all about? This teaches us to backtrack through our emotions and our memories and oftentimes find the origins of our emotional programming. When Wayne Dyer slammed the car door and caught his thumb in it, after a moment of harsh reality and unpleasant language, reflected that he had just been engaged in what he called stinking thinking. In other words, some aggressive, condescending thoughts towards another, which showed up immediately in his life. It tends to work that way. While shadow work is a rewarding way to cultivate a deep, intimate understanding of ourselves and remove the masks and thus evolve as individuals, the truth is that the world needs us to embark on this journey sooner rather than later. The collective shadow houses society's basest impulses: greed, hatred, violence. If one person acting on these impulses can do harm to others, what happens when we act on them as a collective group? Think about that for just a moment. World War II was an example of what one man can do, tapping the collective shadow of a whole population and using it to project violence on others and justify horrific actions. When I was in the business world running manufacturing plants, one of the plants I was in had a union, and we were engaged in the bargaining process. At one point, the union representative, perhaps sensing he needed a little more ammunition, remarked, "Don't forget, Mr. Plant Manager, resistance is the easiest thing to create and organize." Now, he may not have been familiar with Carl Jung and the shadow personality, but he sure knew what he was talking about. The good news this morning is that we know about these things today and have the tools and the resources to consciously expose those demons and choose a better way of life. When you work to heal and integrate your shadow side, you'll find that you stop living so reactively and unconsciously. You start to build trust in your relationships, and the people whose lives you touch open themselves to others. It's a domino effect, building even more healthy relationships. Even random acts of kindness to strangers will increase the likelihood that they will be kind to someone else in turn, which will lighten the mood of a community overall. Many years ago, again, as a plant manager, my boss was in town, and we had just gassed up the car, we were going to dinner. We just gassed up the car, and we were sitting in an intersection. Stoplight is here, 2 lanes of traffic this way, 2 lanes of traffic that way, and it was rush hour. Now, my boss was about 6'4", ex-military paratrooper, not a Green Beret, but pretty close. And he had a unique management style, which I often characterized as the machete in one hand and a hand grenade in the other. And as we were sitting there, traffic was stopped. It was a red light. Traffic was stopped. And he said, "Doug, ease up. Get in there. Put your fender in there. Nobody's going to get." And he kept saying this. And his name was Bill, and I looked at him and I said, "Don't worry, Bill, we'll get out." And I rolled down the window, and I just looked at the next car, put my hand on the top, and Bill, by this time, he said, "Get out there, get out there." And I just looked at the next car, the light turned green, he stopped, clicked his lights, and I pulled out, and away we went. Now, I was smart enough not to say anything about that to my boss, but I noticed in the rest of the meeting that he had a little bit of that edge had come off. He seemed just a little bit different. It works that way. Well, doing deep inner work may seem like a self-absorbed process, but you'll come to find that at its core, it truly becomes so much more than just you. So, what masks do you wear? What roles do you play? Are you comfortable with that? Or would you choose to do something else? Maybe you live a little more authentically. And what would happen if you took the mask off? Well, chances are you'd see the world quite differently. And I can assure you, the world would see you differently as well. So have a happy Halloween. Choose your masks and costumes wisely, grasshopper, and give generously to those little monsters that knock on your door. So let's just take a moment and let all that settle. We all have our masks. So in this quiet time, let us simply reflect. Many of us are going to work tomorrow. What role do we play? Do we feel comfortable? How do we handle that person who is upset on the other side? How do we walk through the Walmart or grocery store, when someone pushes ahead of us in the line, what do we do? There are so many times, so many ways that we live inauthentically. So right here and right now, this very moment, the comfortable chair that we're sitting in, we decide to take the mask off. And what we see is a person with vulnerabilities, with strengths, with weaknesses, with a history, a whole life history of successes and perhaps what we characterize as failures. But through it all, today we are wiser. And we know from our spiritual work that we are guided, that there is a voice, that there is a loving energy always available to us, ready to flow through us. So with that mask on, we let that energy flow. Flows down through our head, flows into our hearts, simply releases and lets go. Anything that says we are less than perfect, we are less than good, we release it and we let it go. And so this very moment, this time, as all those little ones come to the door, trick or treat, we smile, we give them some candy, we wish them well. And the costumes, and the masks, and the roles that we choose to play come up for a question. Is this who I am? The answer is all yours. Choose wisely, grasshopper. So it is. Amen.
So many faces of God, so many faces of God. We are so beautiful. We are so very, very beautiful.
I bet you love that baby grin, don't you?
I love it.
Yeah. And it's, you do well at it.
Well, thank you so much.
That's great. Gosh, great. Well, now is the time in our service when we choose to give back, when we choose to simply go to that place of financial support that we know supports this community, this religious community, this spiritual community, and through us supports our families, our friends, our friendships, and everything that we think in terms of being holy and wonderful in our world. As we just talked about, the very things that you do, the masks, the roles, the way that you act, the way that you give, the way that you support, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I receive in abundance. And so it
God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am grateful. I am blessed. So it is. God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am grateful. I am blessed. So it is. God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am so grateful. I am blessed. So it is.
So we give thanks for these tithes and these offerings, so freely given from a life filled and overflowing with abundance. And we know that they go forth to bless not only ourselves, but our families, our friends, this community, and through us, to bless and change the world. We choose to give as you got it.
God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am grateful. I am blessed. So it is. Pretty dress.
Well, thank you. Okay, here's a few announcements. On Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m., you're invited to join Laura Noyes in a time of Moving with Spirit, which is an opportunity to lead your body in gentle movements and reclaim your sense of peace. If you'd like to belong to a friendly, energetic community and a place that encourages you to learn and grow spiritually, we are taking sign-ups for people to become members of the church. And if you're interested in attending these classes, there is a sign-up sheet at the back. The date is to be announced. And also, if you're a non-joiner and you're just curious and want to know more about us, we also welcome you to come to the classes. They're for fun and for free. So, oh, by the way, we had our fundraiser last week, the Fall Foliage Tour, and we'd really like to give the Millers a round of and it's looking like, with all totals, a few of us, it's going to be about $600. So that's amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, some of you know we've signed a 6-month lease with the Unitarians. I was trying to think of her name. Okay. And so we're going to be meeting here. We're going to take a repose through the winter months so we aren't left in a pavilion in the park in January in the rain. We're going to be meeting here for a time, and as other things develop. So we're going to occasionally be giving announcements with the goings on of their group, and one of them that we can participate in now is they're having the food fundraiser. Some of you might have noticed the donation boxes by the right side or beside the front door. Please, if you have some non-perishable items and you would like to donate, they said they will give us our kudos when they donate too. That it's and also I believe later on they're going to be having a warm, for coats and jackets and things. But it's nice because it's just two groups combining, and I think it's all a good thing. So, okay. Last week, a survey was giving out, and we appreciate all of you who took the time to fill that out. The feedback is very valuable, and this is regarding some things that the church, the people within the church would be interested in having, because we do now have 2 Tuesday nights a month, the second and fourth Tuesdays, and we get to use a classroom free of charge. And we also will be getting one Wednesday night a month, free of charge. So this is kind of a big deal. That was part of the reason for, kind of guaranteeing that we would be here for 6 months. And they gave us a tremendous, generous break on the use of these classroom spaces. And leading into that, we're just gonna wade in. We have these Tuesdays, so beginning on November 14th, downstairs, the classroom, you'll find it, it's to the right. We are going to begin a practical metaphysics discussion group. And I put together a very loose format. And some of the backup is from the Unity Ministerial School, and some of you lay ministers may have taken some of these courses back in the day. Trust me, I'm not going to follow. This is an idea stimulator. But we are going to, explore new thought questions such as, what is truth? And what is God? And why are we here? Easy topics. This should spark some lively discussion. And as always, we don't, as a group, tell you what to believe. But what I hope this group will do is to help us individually clarify our beliefs and how we think about things. So, okay, let me see. Anything else? Daylight savings time, Doug says. Same bat place, same bat time next Saturday morning. So no changes. Actually, that's on Saturday night.
Saturday night's when it changed.
Right, so, okay. I know what you were thinking though. All right. Everyone's invited to join us in fellowship today, some delicious food, and I really want to thank Landis and Doug for providing an excellent service today. I've enjoyed it. And,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all look good up there on the podium.
I know. Just for a moment, before we begin the peace song, we have cause to really, that line, peace on earth, let us have peace. And let's extend that out to all around the world. And so now, if you would stand and join me in singing the peace song. Yes, there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. If God has created in oneness all we, let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with
Together our prayer for protection.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
This week,
Put our metaphysical class.
I know.
Okay. There is actually a chair left. If anyone can sit in a chair